Hello friends, it is time to plan out our meals for the month of February. We've successfully made it through our low spend January and I'm excited to get back to regular meal planning. I just much prefer to have everything in the house at the beginning of the month and then I don't have to think about it so much. So that's why I prefer this monthly method. We probably aren't going to need 26 meals this month, but I did go ahead and plan for that just in case. We are eating more as a family. We have 3 teenagers with a growing teenage boy, and so we're having less leftovers than we used to. And so I just really wanted to make sure that we had enough dinners to keep us tided over, especially if we need to use those for lunch the next day. First thing we're going to do is make a crock pot ham. I have a ham in the freezer left over from Christmas. We're going to have cheesy potatoes with that. And then with some of the leftover ham, I really like to make scalloped potatoes in ham and potatoes in the crock pot. Really simple recipe. Uses up a lot of potatoes and just a lot of that ham, and it's delicious. You can put it in the crock pot and forget about it all day. Bang Bang chicken, that's probably Jericho's favorite thing that I make. Taco soup, this is a great recipe that I brought back with me from living in the South in Tennessee, and I have been making it for 20 plus years. I don't change anything about it. I just keep making it the exact same way, and we all love it. Chicken shawarma and homemade naan bread, that was a request from my daughter Journey. I always ask the kids and my husband their input, what they would like. Hardly anybody ever has any ideas, but I usually try to accommodate them if I can. I'm going to be trying a lentil stew. This will probably be on a night where not a lot of people are home, and then I can freeze the leftovers in like lunch-size portions, and I will definitely have that for lunch. It looks really good. I'm excited to try it. Korean beef bowl. That's a really easy stovetop meal that we all enjoy, and I always double that recipe to make sure that we have enough. And I usually just serve it with a steamed veggie on the side or something. Detroit style pizza, I haven't made this in probably 2 or 3 months, so it's time to put it back in the rotation. Everybody loves it. Pork tacos, this is also a recipe I've been making for years and years, and whenever I'm not going to buy something right at the beginning of the month, I always make a note of it so that when I look at that choice on my menu, I know that I'm probably going to use that one the second half of the month. If I get coleslaw mix ahead of time, it tends to go bad pretty quickly. So I'd rather just get that like second half of the month and then make that meal right away. Plain old spaghetti, I always like to have this as an option for those busy nights where we need something quick. I do have another team meal to provide for my daughter's basketball team. So they requested ranch chicken sliders, which easy enough to do. It's a great team meal option. Slow cooker pork chops. I like to buy a whole pork loin, not a tenderloin, but a whole pork loin, and slice my own pork chops. So that's what I will be doing for that. Turkey, meatballs, and pasta. This is a Giada De Laurentiis recipe that, again, I have probably been making for 20 years. Chili mac, that is also a favorite. Everyone likes it, doesn't complain. And then I've really been missing a Mississippi roast, but chuck roasts have been so incredibly expensive that I have not done it. So beef tips were actually a pretty good price at Sam's Club, and so I decided to go ahead and try out the Mississippi pot roast recipe with beef tips. I think it's going to be delicious. We'll have that with mashed potatoes. Green chili enchiladas. We haven't had enchiladas in a while. And then I get free range whole chickens from my friend that grows them. And so I have a bunch of those in the freezer. And I want to make sure that I'm using those on a monthly basis so that they don't get freezer burned, even though they've lasted well over a year in my freezer before. Jambalaya, that's a meal that we did not get to in January, so that's a carryover. I'm going to try oven grinders. This is a recipe I found on Instagram. It looks really good. I don't know if you guys call them, in the Midwest, we call them grinders. It's like a hot sub with a bunch of toppings on top. So we're going to try that. Chicken pad thai, another recipe I found on Instagram that looked good. And then trusty sausage sheet pan dinner. This is a very easy one to throw together. I usually have everything that I need for it. Freezer leftovers. There's a couple leftovers in the freezer that we didn't get to in January. I was really trying to clean out the freezers. And so we can easily have a night of that. There's just a bunch of, probably 3 different things to choose from, and I'll just pull them all out and everybody can pick what they want. And it'll get those 3 containers out of my freezer. Beef pot pie. I'm also working on using up some food in my food storage to make sure that those things don't go bad. And I do have some canned beef that needs to be used up and also some lard in my freezer. So I'm going to make homemade pie crust with lard and do a beef pot pie using that canned beef. Grilled chicken Alfredo. This is also another one that we did not get to in January. Same thing with Greek chicken bowls as well as lasagna soup. So all of those are carryovers, which is nice because that makes my grocery bill this month less. Moving on to lunch items, I've really been liking to make this homemade ramen recipe that I kind of tweaked and made my own. I did find it on Instagram, but I kind of have a different method, and it's just really tasty. And again, I made myself a note. I had been using up coconut milk in my food storage, and so I need to go ahead and replenish that, probably at Costco when I go in February. Snack plate is always a great option for myself, as well as chicken salad. And then I just want to make sure I did do some frozen pizzas. That's kind of from Sam's Club. That's kind of the idea, like for the weekend lunches when we're all together. Same thing with air fryer. I just like to make sure I have those things for like easy lunch options when everybody's home if there's not leftovers in the fridge to clean up. I do have some beef tallow in the freezer as well that I would like to use, and if you've never done homemade fries in beef tallow, it is delicious. But I got a French fry cutter that I would like to try out and do some homemade fries. Beefy onion rice, that'll probably go with the pork chops. It goes very well with pork chops. And then I have a box of instant mashed potatoes I need to use up, and that will probably go with the Mississippi beef tips. I also, in my freezer, have a bunch of odds and ends of like sourdough bread that I've stuck in the freezer, like that we haven't eaten fresh. And I would like to get those cleaned out. And everybody likes Caesar salad if we have croutons in it. I don't know what the deal is about croutons, but I'm going to make some homemade Caesar croutons so that we can have a big Caesar salad with one of our meals. I also make a very delicious homemade Caesar dressing, which if I can remember, I'll try to add that to the list in the description, the recipes. Okay, desserts. We have implemented family night on Saturday nights, and I like to make dessert to go with that. So purple cows are something from my childhood. My mom used to make us like ice cream, and then you pour grape juice over the top and blend it, and then usually have it with popcorn. I don't know. It's really delicious, and we've called them purple cows. That's what they are. So we'll do that one night. We're going to have brownies just out of a box. I have a really good recipe for jam bars that you can use up any bits of jam in your fridge that you have, which I do have some right now. And then sugar cookies. We typically make these at Christmas, but we didn't get around to it this year, and so I thought that that would be a good dessert option for February. Breakfast. My son loves my homemade McGriddles, and so I need to make sure I have everything for that, as well as the sourdough bagels. I probably make those at least twice a month, sometimes 3 times a month. And then we have eggs and cottage cheese, baked oatmeal, and, well, I shut the thing too fast. I don't remember what the last thing was. But as always, thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye!